Hey everyone, it's Mike from Terra Garden again. Today's rhythm guitar walkthrough tutorial is going to be for our song Always in My Heart, which is track number 7 on our 2020 album Keep It Real, the band's third. In order to play along through this tutorial, you're going to first need an acoustic guitar, because all the rhythm was recorded with one, and you'll need to be in standard tuning. So, if we pluck all the open strings, it should sound like this. As usual, we're going to break down each section of the song. I'm going to first play it in normal speed, and then we're going to slow it down note for note and see exactly what's going on. Let's start. Alright, it's time to slow down intro 1. It's going to be a total of 5 measures. Measures 1 through 4 are identical, and then measure 5 is the tail end, and then we repeat all of that one more time. So, starting with measure 1, we're going to start with a hit on the 2 on the D string, then a 2 on the G string, then an open B string, then a 2 on the E string, then down to an open B string again, then 2 on the D string, then 3 on the E string, then 2 on the D string again, and then 3, 2, 0 on the E string, and then finally an open B string. So let's play the first half of measure 1 slow. Measure 2, a little bit similar. Once again, 2 on the D string, 2 on the G string, open B, then a 2 on the E string, then an open B string hit, then a 2 on the D string, and then 3, 2, 0 on the top E string, and then finally an open B string hit. So let's play measure 1 in full slow. So for the first time in Terra Garden's history, we're actually not doing a 4/4 beat. We're using odd time signatures. Some of you might be able to pick that up naturally, but just in case anybody's wondering, these specific first 4 measures are played in an 11/8 beat, meaning 11 8 notes per measure. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11, in case it helps to count. All right, now for measure 5, the tail end. We start out with an A chord hit, so open A string, 2 on the D string, 2 on the G string, open B and open E. And then as that chord's ringing out, we're going to pick 2 on the D string, open B, back to 2 on the D string, and then open E string. So it should be all together. Then we're going to do an hammer-on the A string from open to 2. then setting up to our C chord in the first position. So that would be a 3 on the A string, 2 on the D string, open G string, and 1 on the B string. Strike that chord. And even the open E string on top. So it should be. And then as that chord's ringing out, we do a 2 on the D string, a 1 on the B string, another 2 on the D string, and then we're going to do 2 full chord hits. It's going to be our C in the first natural position, which we went over, 3 on the A, 2 on the D, open G string, and 1 on the B string, except we're now adding a 3 on the E string, so it'll be 2 hits like this. So tiny bit of rest in between. And then ending with a 3, 2 on the bottom E string. So measure 5 in full, slow. So once again, talking about the different time signatures, for measure number 5, it switches to a 6/8 beat, which means 6 eighth notes per measure. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. So now let's try all 5 measures together, and then we're going to try to repeat it twice. Slow in full. All right, on to intro 2, where there's 4 total measures. All 4 measures are identical to each other, so we just got to learn one of them. The time signature also changes to 7/4, which is 7 quarter beats per measure. So it should be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and a... In case that helps again with the count. Now on to the riff. So we start out with an open E string, bottom E, 2 on the A string, open G string, 2 on the D string, 2 on the A string, then open G, 2 on the D string. Then we're going to do a slide from 2 to 3 on the D string, then a 2 on the G string, open B string, open E string on top. So let's play that first half of the measure. Second half, open E string, 2 on the A string, open G string, 2 on the D string, and then the same exact ending. Slide from 2 to 3 on the D string, 2 on the G string, open B string, open E string. So all together for one measure. So let's try the whole thing in full 4 times, just like the song. Time to slow down intro 3. We have 4 total measures here, and also the time signature changes to an 8/4 beat. So that's 8 quarter notes per measure. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and a 8 and a. So measure 1, we're going to do 1 on the A string, 3 on the D string, 3 on the G string, then 1 on the top E string, then a 1 on the B string, then a 3 on the G string, then a 3 on the D string, then a 1 on the A string, then a 3 on the D string, and the tail end we're going to pull off from 2 to 1 on the B string, and then finally a 1 on the G string. So measure 1, slow and full. Measure 2, exactly the same thing, but except this tail end, we're going to do 2 chord hits. So that would be the first chord hit is 1 on the A string, 3 on the D string, 3 on the G string, and 2 on the B string together. And the second chord, we're just removing the 2 from the B string, and it's going to be 1. So, measure 2 now, slow and full. Measure 3 is exactly the same as measure 1, which we already learned. And lastly, measure 4. This is all still the same. Up to that point. And then we're going to pull off on A from 1 to 0. And then 3, 2, 0 on the bottom E string. So measure 4, slow and full. Now let's try to play the entire intro 3 slow in full. Alright, so intro 4 is basically a variation on intro 2. We're going back to that time signature we learned, which is a 7/4 beat, and we're going to copy the first 1.5 measures from intro 2 into intro 4, which we've already learned. Play it again. So the tail end of intro 4 now. We're going to do open E string hit, then a 2 on the A string, then an open G string hit, then a 2 on the D string, 2 on the A string, open E string hit on the bottom, and then our final chord is going to be an open A string, 3 on the D string, 2 on the G string, open B string, open top E string together. And we let that ring out. So let's play intro 4 in full slow. Let's break down pre-verse 1 note for note, starting out with an open E string hit, then 2 on the A string, 2 on the D string, then 2 on the A string again. Then we're going to do a hammer-on pull-off on the G string from open, 2 back to open, and then 2 on the D string, and a 2 on the A string. So all together. Then an open D string hit, then 3 on the B string, then 2 on the G string, then an open E string up top, 3 on the B string, 2 on the G string, and then an open D string again. So it should be all together. Then, basically keeping your top fingers in the same position, we're going to hit the 4 on the A string, which is a C sharp. And then that same thing again. 3 on the B string, 2 on the G string, open E string up top, 3 on the B string, and then 2 on the G string. So that part should sound like this. Then we're going to do a slide from 4 to 5 on the A string, 4 on the D string, open G string, and then a 4 on the A string, 2 on the D string, and an open G string, and then lastly 3-2 on the bottom string. So that last part should be and we repeat it the same exact thing one more time. So let's try to play the whole thing together repeated twice. verse 1, we're basically doubling pre-verse 1, so we're playing it 4 measures instead of 2, which then leads us to post-verse 1. I'll play it normal speed, then we'll break it down note for note. For post verse 1, we're going to start out with a single hit on the 3rd fret of the A string, which is a C. And then that rings out a tiny bit, and then we're going to get into our C chord in the first position. We're going to strum it. So that is 3 on the A string, 2 on the D string, open G string, 1 on the B string, and an open E. We strike it once. Then we're going to strike it again, but in the middle of the hit, we're going to shift from a C to a D, down a whole step, same finger positioning. So it'll be 5 on the A string, 4 on the D string, open G string, 3 on the B string, and an open E hit up top. So, and it'll be like this. And then one more hit on the D chord. So all together from the top. And then we're doing the reverse. We're hitting the D chord, in the middle of it shifting down to the C chord and then hitting that once. So it'll be like this. So it'll, in context from the beginning. And then from there, we do another C chord hit, except we're putting our a 3 on the top E string. Then picking the top E string open and a 1 on the B string, shifting up to a D chord, hitting it one more time, and then another time, except we're shifting down to C as soon as we do it, and then hitting the C again, and then a B, which will be 2 on the A string, 1 on the D string, open G, open B, open E, and it'll be 1, 2, 3. So let's take it from the second half, which is okay, so let's try to play post verse 1 in its entirety, slowed down. Pre-verse 2 is the same exact thing as pre-verse 1. Verse 2 is the same thing as verse 1, so nothing new to learn in those sections. We're going to jump right to post-verse 2. We're going to play it first in full speed, then we'll break it down note for note. Alright, for post-verse 2, not much difference from post-verse 1. All I'm doing is adding a couple extra strums at whatever chord we're focusing on at the moment. So I'm just going to play it slow, and you can pick up the strums accordingly. So chorus 1 has 7 measures in its entirety. We're going to take it piece by piece and learn it note for note. So for measure 1, the first chord we hit is a 2 on the D string and an open G string together. Then muted E string on the bottom, 1 hit. Then 4 on the D string and 2 on the G string together. Then a muted hit on the bottom E. Then 5 on the D string, 4 on the G string together. Muted E string hit. Back down to 4 and 2, 4 on the D, 2 on the G. Muted hit. Then back down to where we started, 2 on the D string, open G string. Slight rest, and the final chord in this progression is 5 on the A string, 4 on the D string. So let's just concentrate on that little piece to see what's going on. So it's... Then we're going to do our C chord in our first position, which once again, 3 on the A string, 2 on the D string, open G string, 1 on the B string, and an open E string. And the strumming is going to be 1, 2, 3. Now on that third hit, I'm sliding up from C to D, pretty much what we did in the post verse. And the D chord, of course, once again, is 5 on the A string, 4 on the D string, open G string, 3 on the B string, and an open E string. So it's C, 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 D, D. So just pick up the strums one more time. Let's try measure 1 now, full, slow. On to measure 2. The first 3 chords from before are exactly the same. Then we do a muted hit on the E string. Then we're going to do a 7 on the D string and a 5 on the G string. And then a muted hit on the bottom E. And then 5 on the D string, 4 on the G string. And then 4 on the D string, 2 on the G string. So it should be... Then the C chord strums again. So on the 3, instead of sliding up to D, we're going down to B on that third hit, which is 2 on the A string, 1 on the D string, open G, open B, open E. Same strumming technique too. So it's... So once again, let's play measure 2 in full slow. Measure 3 is the same exact thing as measure 1. And then measure 4 takes a good amount of measure 2. And then that leads into measures 5, 6, and 7, which are all identical. Measure 5 is just the strumming, so C chord, B. That's one full measure. So we're going to do that 3 times. So it's a C to a B chord over and over 3 times. All right, so now let's try chorus 1 in full slow. For breakdown 1, we're going to divide it into 3 measures. So let's start with measure 1. We're going to start out on an E chord, open E string, 2 on the A string, 2 on the D string, open G string, and even a little bit of the open B string as well. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 1, 2, 3, 4, rest, 1 hit, rest. Then we jump up to a first position D chord, open D string, 2 on the G string, 3 on the B string, 2 on the E string. Once, rest. That is basically going to be the foundation of every measure. Then the tail end of measure 1 is going to be from our C chord to a B chord, which is, we already kind of learned that in the chorus, but I'll show it again. So C, 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 then measure 2. And then we're going to do C to D chord, which we also learned in the chorus. C, 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 D, D. So let's pick up the strums on that one more time. Then measure 3. So we're going to hit the C chord 3 times. Then we're going to go to an A chord. So open A string, 2 on the D string, 2 on the G string for 3 hits. And on that third hit, we're jumping from an A to a B. So once we're on the B, it's 1, 2, and then we're going to switch the chord and to include the 4 on the G and B string and get a little heavier as it goes on. So let's just play the last measure in full slow. Now let's try all of breakdown 1 in its entirety, slow. So breakdown 2 is my main solo. The rhythm underneath it is exactly the same as the verses, so nothing new there. That now leads us to breakdown 3. So I'm going to play it at normal speed to start out, and then we'll break it down note for note. Breakdown 3 is basically a variation on the 2 post verses that we learned earlier in the song. So post verse 1 was very simple. We were just striking a chord. A lot of open space. Post verse 2, we added a little bit more strumming to it. And for breakdown 3, we're adding even more strumming than we did for post verse 2. So it should sound like this. I'll play it slow. You just pick up the variations in the strumming when you can. So breakdown 4 coming out of the end of my solo is the same exact thing as breakdown 1, so nothing new to learn there. We're now going to go to chorus 2, which basically ends the song. And just as a last reminder, I know we were talking about time signatures earlier in the song. It should seem pretty obvious, but everything from pre-verse 1 on is back to a 4/4 time signature. So with that being said, let's play chorus 2 in full speed, and then we'll break it down note for note. Time to slow down chorus 2. The first 2 measures are actually the same exact thing as chorus 1, which we've already learned. Now for measure 3, we're going to do basically the harmony of measure 1. So it's going to be 2 on the A string and open D string, strike the chord, muted bottom string, 1 hit, then 4 on the A string, 2 on the D string, muted hit on the bottom E, then 5 on the D string, 5 on the A string, 4 on the D string, hit, muted hit on the bottom string, then 4 on the A string, 2 on the D string, bottom hit, muted, and then where we started, 2 on the A string, open D string, slight rest, and then the final chord is a 5 on the E string, 4 on the A string. So altogether it should sound like this. Then we have the C to D chord progression. C, 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 D, D, D. And then the next measure, we're going to go back to power chords. So it's an E chord to start out, open E string, 2 on the A string, 2 on the D string, and then a muted chug, open. Then we're sliding up a whole step to F sharp, 2 on the E string, 4 on the A string, 4 on the D string for 1 hit, and then a mute on that note right afterwards. Then up a half step to G, 3 on the E string, 5 on the A string, 5 on the D string. That mute at the end. Then jumping up a whole step to an A, 5 on the E string, 7 on the A string, 7 on the D string. That mute once again. So basically, you got the mute after every note in this progression. And then down to a G again, and then an F sharp. Then we're going to do a C chord, so 3 on the E and A string, 5 on the D and G string, and we're just going to go. Going down a half step to a B, same exact strumming progression as the other times at the end of chorus 1. Then again. So the first 2 times are exactly the same. Measure 3 is a little different. We go. We let that B ring out, which by the way, once again, B is 2 on the E and the A string and a 4 on the D and G string. And then our final chord is an E. So open E string, 2 on the A string, 2 on the D string, and the top 3 strings are open. Just strum it, let it ring out, and that's that. So let's break down everything we've learned for chorus 2 and play it slow in full. That's the end of today's tutorial. Now you know how to play my rhythm guitar parts for our song Always in My Heart. For those that might be watching these tutorials in a specific order, maybe through a playlist, you might have heard that there is a 8th track on our album Keep It Real. In fact, there is. On the physical CD version, we have a bonus track of a cover. We do Golden Earrings' Twilight Zone. We do have the mechanical licensing rights to use it for a CD, but we're trying to keep it offline as best as possible because we don't have the rights there. So I'm not going to be doing any tutorial for that specific track. Possibly a playthrough, we'll see. If you are interested in obtaining the physical CD and want that bonus track, just contact Terra Garden through any of the social media outlets and we'll be more than happy to hook you up. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. And of course, any comments are most appreciated. See you soon.